here on the 17th, right? To approve the minutes at the meeting you weren't here on?
Yeah, I had,
The 17th.
I had a house full of Midwestern boys that,
Oh, okay, so you're still good.
it was very nice, because it's nice having children in the house again.
Why were there, was he still at college? He went
And they were all in New York. So, and the boys did all have so I had, huh? Oh yeah, yes, I brought that too.
You think you're doing good? So interesting.
Good evening. In accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, be advised that a notice of this meeting was made by posting on the bulletin board in Town Hall and forwarding to the officially designated newspapers that this meeting would take place at Town Hall at 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday, October 15, 2019. Please stand to salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's nice hearing all the young voices tonight. Roll call.
Ms. Bursky?
Here.
Mr. Levy?
Here.
Ms. Lieberberg?
Here.
Ms. Prunkus?
Here.
Mayor Joe Egley?
Here.
Thank you.
Please be advised that resolutions 19-240 and 19-241 pertaining to professional service agreements will be pulled from the consent agenda resolution list and will be considered and voted on separately. May I have a motion to approve the agenda as revised?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ms. Prupus, you are scheduled to present a proclamation this evening.
Whereas home should be a place of warmth, unconditional love, peace, and tranquility. And whereas the crime of domestic violence violates an individual's privacy and dignity, security, and humanity, due to the systematic use of physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economic control. And whereas the problems of domestic violence may affect all economic, racial, and societal groups, including children and the elderly. And whereas the impact of domestic violence is wide-ranging, directly affecting individuals and society as a whole. Here in Millburn Township, in the state of New Jersey, and throughout the United States and the world. And whereas domestic violence may be supported by societal indifference and lack of knowledge. Now, therefore, in recognition of the important work done by domestic violence programs and victim advocates, in particular the work of the Millburn Township Domestic Violence Response Team and the Millburn Township Police Department, we, the Millburn Township Committee of the Township of Millburn in the County of Essex, State of New Jersey, do hereby proclaim the month of October as Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and urge all citizens to actively participate in the scheduled activities and programs to work toward improving victim safety and holding perpetrators of domestic abuse accountable for their actions against individual victims and our society as a whole. And then this is a word from one of the Domestic Violence Response Team coordinators. The Millburn Township Domestic Violence Crisis Intervention Team volunteer advocates are members of the community who work in conjunction with the police to provide support, information, and referrals to victims of domestic abuse. The volunteer advocates are trained to empower victims to make decisions about their own lives. Members of the team serve anonymously. Because the Township Committee live streams the meetings, we are unable to be here in person to accept your proclamation. We remain deeply appreciative of the committee's recognition that domestic violence impacts individuals and families across all economic and community strata. We would also like to acknowledge the dedication and professionalism of the officers of the Millburn Township Police Department with who we work. Their support and partnership with us is crucial to our work.
Thank you. Committeeman Levy, I believe you have the next proclamation.
I do. Is there someone here from MMAC to accept? Whereas alcohol and drug abuse in this nation has reached epidemic numbers, and whereas it is imperative that visible, unified prevention education efforts by community members be launched to eliminate the demand for drugs and the access to drugs and alcohol. The Governor's Council on Alcohol and Drug Abuse and the Millburn Municipal Alliance Committee, MMAC, are sponsoring the 2019 Red Ribbon Campaign, offering citizens the opportunity to demonstrate their commitment to a drug-free lifestyle, meaning no use of illegal drugs, no illegal use of legal drugs, and whereas National Ribbon Campaign will be celebrated in every community in America during what is known as Red Ribbon Week, October 23 to 31. The Township of Millburn commits its resources to ensure the success of Red Ribbon campaigns and encourages businesses, government, parents, law enforcement, media, medical, religious, schools, senior citizens, service organizations, and the youth to demonstrate their commitment to drug-free, healthy lifestyles by wearing and displaying red ribbons during this week-long campaign. Now therefore be it resolved that the Township of Millburn hereby supports October 23 to 31, 2019 as Red Ribbon Week and encourages the citizens to participate in alcohol and drug prevention education activities, making a visible statement that we are strongly committed to promoting a drug-free lifestyle and drug-free community.
Thank you very much.
Say some words.
Thank you once again to the Township Committee for supporting MMAC's Red Ribbon Week campaign. I have red ribbons for you.
Thank you.
Share them with everyone who's attended the meeting tonight. Take one and pass them around. The Red Ribbon campaign was started in honor of DEA agent Kiki Camarona, who was killed in the line of duty enforcing our drug laws. And as the campaign has grown, communities throughout the United States participate as a way to present prevention education in the schools and in the community. MMAC, through our Red Ribbon campaign, we've been making ribbons. They'll go up next week at all the elementary, middle school, and high schools. This week we're doing assemblies in the middle school that really focus on mental health and wellness, and in the elementary schools during the last week of October. These are character education programs that kind of look at substance abuse prevention from a holistic perspective, understanding that oftentimes the beginnings of substance abuse and alcohol use stems from underlying mental health conditions. So we're kind of looking at the youth as a whole in order to help them remain drug-free. So I appreciate your proclamation, and thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
May I have a motion to approve the September 17th, 2019 Township Committee minutes?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I have a motion to approve the September 17th, 2019 Special Township Committee minutes?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I think I recused. I don't think I was at the meeting.
I know somebody wasn't there.
That was
you?
me.
Okay. Okay, reports. We can start down with Committeewoman Pupus,
I have no reports.
Committeeman Levy.
Yes, the Rec Commission has met a couple of times since I've last reported, and largely the material that's been covered is administrative matters. Suffice to say that there are a lot of sports and organizations, events going on right now, baseball clinics, flag football. Thursday night remains to be open, basketball for adults. And certain data, a record at the pool, there were 36,000 visitors this year at the pool, which is good, but largely the meetings cover various items concerning turf fields and fertilizers and things that would bore most of the people in the audience, but that are important to the Township Committee because we stay on top of what's going on and making sure that the fields and the courts and everything are attended to. And we spend a lot of time at these meetings addressing those technical issues. And that concludes the report for the 2 meetings that I attended.
Thank you. Committeewoman Burstein.
No report.
Committeewoman Benjamin Lieberberg.
No report.
Okay, Jimmy? I'm sorry. No report. Madam Clerk.
No report, Mary.
Alex?
Just one, well, actually two quick reports. The township will be doing its own paving projects. As many of you are aware, Millburn Avenue, the county's paving project is currently underway. And is scheduled, I don't know if the mayor is going to report on that, but scheduled for paving later this week. But the township is also paving several roads in the township, Old Shore Hills Road, Farley Place, and Ridgewood Road between Main Street and Whittingham. Those projects are expected to start on October 21st. We will keep everyone posted through their social media sites and the township's website as they move forward. The second report from last meeting was asked of me regarding Canoe Brook Road. Just a brief update on that is that the township is currently taking what is a 1,500 square foot area of the area between Finneran Way and Canoe Brook Road and removing the roadway. Markets have been called for. We will be exploring several options up there, one of them including a storage facility. And I'll keep the committee and the public updated as we progress on that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Attorney Falcon?
No report.
No reports, okay. And I have no reports because my meeting I went to was the Environmental Commission, who are here this evening. The county representative is not here, but Alex spoke that we are paving Upper Millburn Avenue. And now it's time for the Environmental Commission members in attendance to present their resolution.
All right. Okay, I'm just going to bend.
Okay, you can just identify your.
Okay, my name's Priya Patel. I live at 9 Farview Road, and I am a member of the Millburn Environmental Commission. Oh, thanks, Chris. Okay, thank you. Okay, so Mayor Eglow and Township Committee members, thank you so much for the opportunity to again present the Environmental Commission's resolution to prohibit retail dispensing of single-use plastics in our township. So I see a lot of people in the room today. So in the interest of getting to public comment as quickly as possible, I'm going to try to stay brief. As you know, we introduced this resolution this past summer at the Township Committee meeting on August 13th. So I just want to first provide an overview for those in the audience who are not familiar with the wording of the resolution. In brief, the resolution targets 3 single-use items: plastic bags, plastic straws, and polystyrene, which is commonly known as styrofoam, takeout containers. Reusable or paper bags can be offered to customers for a fee. And straws can be offered only upon request to anyone who needs one. The resolution models state legislation S2776, also A4330. Both bills were introduced in the summer of last year, and to date, no movement has occurred on either. So why are we focusing on these 3 items? So we know the single-use plastic bags, straws, and the polystyrene takeout containers represent the primary source of plastic pollution. We know that these items are used for seconds, possibly minutes, maybe an hour or 2, but they last forever. It's critical to note that plastic is fossil fuel derived, that it never truly goes away, and in fact, it breaks down into microplastics, which are ending up in the food we eat and the water that we drink. These items are also not recyclable, and unfortunately, they end up contaminating our curbside recycling load. In fact, our township has moved to prohibit residents from disposing of the plastic bags in recycling bins or using them as liners. So why do we need an ordinance? So similar to anti-smoking laws in public spaces, seatbelt and helmet laws, we know that regulatory guidance, tightly linked with related public education and public awareness campaigns, yields good outcomes, be it fewer traffic fatalities, smoke-free air, or in this case, less plastic pollution being generated by our town. Have we gotten here? Our process has been one of active community engagement and education, both of the resolution, but really plastic pollution in general. So to that end, we've conducted public education sessions, merchant roundtables, information sharing in our local schools, all with the intention of heightening awareness. Most importantly, though, we've worked to involve key stakeholders, and we will continue to engage them in hopefully the drafting, rollout, and successful implementation of the ordinance. So the most common question we get is what's not included in this resolution, and there are a number of exemptions, which are as follow. So bags that package bulk items such as fruit, vegetables, nuts, grains, candies, or small hardware items. Bags that contain or wrap frozen and non-frozen foods, meat or fish, whether packaged or not. Bags that contain or wrap flowers, potted plants, or other items where dampness may be an issue. Bags that contain unwrapped prepared foods or bakery goods. Pharmacy prescription bags to maintain privacy. Newspaper bags, door hanger bags, laundry and/or dry cleaning bags. And bags sold in packages containing multiple bags intended for food storage, garbage, yard waste, or pet waste. These exemptions represent a fairly standard list of items that other towns also deem as allowable. And speaking of other towns, it is noteworthy to mention that of yesterday, there are now 62 other similar ordinances that have been enacted across the state of New Jersey. Some of our neighbors that now have ordinances include Maplewood, South Orange, and most recently Chatham Township. And it's expected that Chatham Borough and Madison will pass their own ordinances within the next couple weeks. So it's the Environmental Commission's objective tonight to respectfully request that this resolution be submitted to the Township Attorney for the purpose of drafting an ordinance after addressing any outstanding questions or concerns that committee members may still have. So to assist in doing that, I'd like to invite Renee Paparian, who is our co-chair of the Millburn Township Green Team, to come up to the podium.
Thank you.
Renee Paparian, 64 Mountain View Road. And as Priya just said, we're here to answer
Renee,
any...
could you speak into the microphone? I think people in the back will want to hear you.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Well, now I can't reach. So No, I think you can hear me.
No, that's
I'll just
better.
speak up.
Yeah.
So we wanted to address any lingering or remaining questions that you might have regarding the resolution.
So before we have the committee speak, I think we will open this up to public comment. And as usual, we will have our timer going. So it's a 3-minute. We ask that you please adhere to the 3-minute because we have a lot of people who want to speak tonight. And then you could wait to the end if all the questions come in and you could probably address them. There might be multiple that are very similar.
That works very well.
Okay, terrific. So why don't we open this to public comment? If you would line up behind the microphone and state your name and address, we'd be happy to take your comments.
Just pull the bar,
Oh,
the whole bar, right? Like just tip it.
there you go.
Christine.
Boy.
Do you want to,
Yeah, just make it like, just so I can see it a little bit too. It will beep.
Jimmy, maybe move the podium so they can get closer to the microphone.
Renee, I won't be able to see it. Just get, okay. You can tilt it a little bit more towards them.
By the way, Renee,
Perfect.
I did try to get you. Your voicemail was full.
Nice pen.
Okay. So just keep your eye on the clock. It will give you an initial beep at 2.5 minutes and gives you warning that you have 30 seconds and that everyone will have a fair chance. So,
Awesome.
good evening.
Good evening. I'm Jonah Dutch. I'm the senior patrol leader of Boy Scout Troop 15 of Short Hills. I live at 50 Baltustrow Way. I'm joined here by Scout Alex Zhang and Peng Wong. So our troop wanted to give a balanced approach on this new ordinance. Obviously, being Boy Scouts, we're for anything that helps the environment. We believe in our no trace policy. When we go camping, we don't want to see a bunch of plastics on the trails. We want to have clean campsites, and we really try and live by that and take that into account. But also, on the other side, we also realize we don't want to hurt any business in our town. We don't want to see a lot of available for rent in downtown Millburn. We want to see a prosperous Millburn. We know a lot of people use it, and we really don't want to hurt business. So we would love a balanced approach in this ordinance, but once again, we are for anything environmental, and our troop does support it. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone, I'm Alok Bhatt and I'm a sophomore at Millburn High School. I live at 6 Allen Drive, Short Hills. This summer I volunteered as an eco-ambassador for the Environment in Action program, which was piloted in our town by the SDSN. Whenever I visit Taylor Park, or my school cafeteria for that matter, I'm struck by the amount of plastic waste spewing out of garbage cans. As a result, one of my main objectives was to try to cut down plastic waste in this community. I went to all the restaurants in town to ask them to cut their use of plastic cutlery, straws, and disposable plates. While most of them knew that they were bad for the environment, they said it was up to their customers to refuse, yet most of them did agree to ask their customers if they wanted plastic cutlery and plates when they called for takeout orders. I designed a survey and put it up on my Instagram, asking my friends to understand their plastic consumption habits, and they saw that a lot of people in our town use plastics while entertaining. They use single-use plastics. To understand the magnitude of this problem, I met our township recycling coordinator, Mr. Jesse Molman, and he said that our town has a high recycling contamination rate of 8%, which is lower than our counties of 25%, but still higher than the recyclable goods accepted by countries like China, India, and Vietnam. I made posters for our town to address issues that affect our environment, like using cloth bags, steel bottles instead of using plastic ones, and to stop wasting food. I hope our town takes our cue from our neighbors like Maplewood to ban the use of single-use plastic. We are an educated and affluent community, and we should be taking the lead in the fight to ban single-use plastics and spread eco-awareness. In my family, we carry reusable bags everywhere. I take my steel water bottle to school. I take steel cutlery and reusable cloth napkins in my lunch bags. We also have containers in our cars for leftovers from restaurants. I strongly believe that this ordinance needs to be passed, and I can assure you that our community will enthusiastically support the businesses that stop using plastic bags, straws, and containers that can't be recycled. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ishan Bharadwaj, and I'm a 6th grader at Millburn Middle School. My address is 111A Millburn Avenue, Millburn, New Jersey. I'm here today to ask you to vote for the ordinance to reduce plastic waste in Millburn. I love my hometown and I care for my environment, so I'm hoping to see less plastic waste. So what are we afraid of? Are we thinking that customers will stop going to our local stores because they don't provide plastic bags? Are we thinking our local businesses will lose money because of this? Well, no, because this ordinance will not affect the local stores but will actually help them. We will support the businesses by going to all the stores in our town and buying the products. We are going to go to the stores more because they have agreed to not use plastic bags, straws, and polystyrene takeout containers. It would be amazing to see reusable bags and straws in all our stores. Whenever we go to plastic-free stores in the future, we are going to carry our reusable bags and love it. Some stores already provide reusable bags such as Trader Joe's and ShopRite. We're all in this together to make a big difference in Millburn, and we need your help. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Hello, my name is Yuvi, and I'm in 6th grade from Millburn Middle School. My address is 38 Exeter Road, Short Hills, New Jersey. And I wanted to say that that stores will actually improve because people will see that, hey, this store is not using plastic, let me buy it more, because not only will I be getting a good product, I'll also be saving our earth. So it's a win-win for us and the stores. And businesses just don't have to use plastic. I agree that plastic can be used, and it's quick and it's reliable. But this plastic is going to be used for 1 minute, while our Earth has to be used for our health and humanity for millions and trillions of years. So I think that's more important than plastic, and we have to find solutions to this fast, because we're probably going to be the last generation that can help this, and we need help not just from adults, but we also have to do it ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ryan McCullum. I'm a resident at 18 Raleigh Place, Millburn, New Jersey, and I have created a speech to present in front of you today. Dear Millburn Board, as you know, hundreds of people visit downtown Millburn every day. With those people come thousands of single-use plastics that are used at restaurants and stores. Many towns around us, including Belmar, which has a borough-wide ban on plastic bags, and Hoboken, which has a city-wide ban on plastic bags, have noticed how much plastic their stores were using daily and decided to put a stop to it. Plus, many businesses in Millburn use plastic bags, which could definitely change. If we put a stop to single-use plastics, other towns will take notice and will also decide to put a stop to single-use plastics as well. Then we could start on our journey towards making New Jersey a zero non-perishable plastic environment. So together we at Millburn for Climate and Environmental Action ask Millburn Township to put a stop to single-use plastics.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Shreya. I live on 16 Oakdale Avenue, Millburn, New Jersey, and I came to speak about the global climate change. And I just wanted to ask everybody in this room a question. What planet do you think is the hottest? You may think it's Mercury, but it's actually Venus, because gases are trapping the sun's heat on making the planet really, really hot. Soon our planet will be following Venus's footsteps. It's really scary to think that such a nice, livable planet is going to be such a monstrous thing. To stop this, all we need to do is reduce plastic. It sounds so simple, but it's not. We have to take it one step at a time, and we could do it really gradually, but we need to start. Let's be the leaders of today and tomorrow by stopping single-use plastics. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Charlie Baker of 35 Canterbury Lane, Short Hills. I'm here on behalf of the Environmental Club at Millburn High School. I will keep it as shorter than the rest of my sixth grade counterparts who have done a great job today. I just wanted to say that on behalf of the Environmental Club that this ordinance has our support, as well as based on a lot of the research that we've done, the support of many, even probably the majority of the student body. So we would urge you to vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Alan Swanson. I'm the Conservation Chair of the Loantaka Group of the New Jersey chapter of the Sierra Club. I represent Union County, Livingston, and Millburn. The Sierra Club is one of the oldest organizations dedicated to the preservation of our resources and land for the betterment of all the species on the earth. Our principles are simple: to explore, enjoy, and protect the wild places of the earth, to practice and promote the responsible use of Earth's ecosystems and resources, and to educate and enlist humanity to protect and restore the quality of natural and human environment. Given our experience and mission, we support all measures to make an effort to reduce those practices which have a negative impact on all creatures. Some of those negative practices are reliance on fossil fuels, excessive use of pesticides and fertilizers, lack of preservation of water resources, and in tonight's case, single-use non-biodegradable packaging in a variety of settings. It is our view that every effort to reduce waste, especially waste, which impacts our environment for hundreds of years or more, is an effort which must be supported and commended. Therefore, without rehashing all of the benefits of reducing the kind of waste you are considering this evening, we of the Lowentaka Group and the New Jersey chapter of the Sierra Club support and commend those who are advocating for the development of ordinances which will address the issue of plastic waste in Millburn Township. Let me conclude by saying a couple of things. Summit is introducing a similar ordinance on November 8th, slated to be voted on the 18th. Probably will pass. And I'd like to end with a final proverb comment that's been said by many. It's that we don't inherit the earth from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Diane Nelson, 48 Hillside Avenue in Short Hills. I'm just here to voice my complete support for the ordinance as a parent and as a community member. Reducing plastic to me means less fossil fuel use to make the plastics. It means less plastic in our rivers and our oceans. It means less microplastics in the fish that our families ingest. It means less pollution from plastics being buried and incarcerated, and therefore we're breathing it in. My family has refused bags for many, many years. Like anything else, it becomes a habit, and once it's a habit, it's simple. I mean, I carry a fold-up bag in my purse. We have reusable grocery bags in the trunk, and we just refuse bags everywhere we go. Sometimes we actually carry the items out of the store in our hands. It works. It's just a question of changing your habit. There are people who might see it as an inconvenience, and of course, as mentioned earlier, there will be some exceptions. I completely understand that, but I think it's clearly for the greater good. I hope Millburn will join the dozens of other communities across the state, including one that no one has mentioned yet, Paramus, which is the shopping capital of New Jersey, and they've banned plastic bags. So if Paramus can do it, I hope Millburn can do it too, and make a positive impact for our children and our grandchildren. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Oriel Wolf, and I live at 61 Whitney Road, Short Hills. And I am a student from Millburn Middle School and part of TIG's peer leaders. Several of us are here tonight to show our support for the ordinance regulating plastic bags and styrofoam containers in town. This ordinance is about the future of Millburn. We are the future of Millburn. When I walk into town on Friday, I see trash on the streets. When I walk through the park, I see single-use plastic bags in the river and the trees. I see so much styrofoam and single-use plastic in the trash cans. Styrofoam never decomposes and adds so much trash to our already full landfills. Single-use plastic takes over 1,000 years to decompose and pollutes our oceans. Ridding Millburn of single-use plastic and styrofoam is Millburn's small step towards saving our environment. So on behalf of a student, a resident, and a customer who frequents the local businesses, I support this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Scott Bronstein from 45 Barnstable Road, Short Hills. I am very upset with the plastic and styrofoam usage in Millburn. It really should be reduced. You probably heard this from adults, but now we are kids telling you that we have a serious plastic problem. We also, in a way, are scared. This is our generation. This is our time to make a better place with no overuse of plastic and styrofoam. We hear scientists saying that the sea will have more plastic than sea life in 2050. That's a scary fact. We worry about the plastic and styrofoam usage. We worry about the future ahead. Let's make a difference. We can start here in Millburn, New Jersey. We are your customers. We probably spend more money in your stores than our parents. And I hear this from my family and friends that there really is a problem with the plastic and styrofoam usage in Millburn. If there's even the chance not to use the plastic or styrofoam, then please consider it. This is our planet. This is what your family has to live with and generations beyond that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Scarlett Smith-Wiener, and I live at 81 Cypress Street. I feel that our community is taking advantage of plastic and styrofoam. All of it is going to waste, polluting our world.
The future is in our hands, and as a community, we need to help people make better decisions involving the environment. Using plastic bags because they may seem convenient at the time is not a good idea, because that one plastic bag will be on this earth for 1,000 years. Part of the reason why that is because people are unaware of the condition of our environment. We are in the middle of a climate and environmental crisis, and I want to end it. We all have to start taking action now. Passing this ordinance is just the first step. It won't be long until Taylor Park is overflowing with trash. The pond will be full of plastic. This situation cannot be ignored. Everything that one does makes an impact, positive or negative. Plastic certainly has a negative one, not only to us, but to the animals. Your children will live here, your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren, and so on. Is this really the environment that you would want for them? Now, plastic might seem important, but there is always an alternative. It's worth getting rid of your plastic bags to save the earth. We are the next generation, so it's up to us to make a difference. I'm Scarlett Smith-Wiener, and I support this ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Gia Panjwani, and I live on 28 Kilmer Drive, Short Hills. I believe this ordinance should be drafted. As the future of this town, my generation is going to have to face the problem of there being too much of plastic. In the years, the town could be covered in plastic, in the river, Taylor Park, everywhere. As a customer of every store downtown, I would be pleased if they removed all the plastic bags. As a Millburn student who goes to town almost every Friday, I feel guilty knowing that the plastic that I'm using can cause obstacles in our future. There are so many ways to fix this problem, but we have to start somewhere. On behalf of Millburn Middle School, I support the ordinance and making a huge change in our community's future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Seva Patel Jao and I live at 9 Farview Road in Millburn, New Jersey. I'm here to show my support for the plastic ordinance. Every single plastic bag, straw, and styrofoam container is a form of waste that is polluting our planet. We in Millburn can make a difference. Starting with our local businesses, I would be more likely to go to Kung Fu Tea if they did not use plastic straws and cups. La Strada, for example, has started using paper cups, and I go there more often because of that. We are 7th graders. We could be at home doing homework or relaxing, but we showed up here because we care and support this plastic ordinance. We care about the future of our community. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Michael Sanchez and I live on 37 Forest Drive in Millburn. The ordinance must be drafted to ensure a greener future for Millburn and Short Hills. My generation represents the future of Millburn, so we have the most at stake. We don't want plastic and styrofoam in the rivers, parks, and reservations for years to come, killing innocent animals that mistake it for food. We don't want to see plastic overrun our town. Also, I personally go to town every week, and I would be ecstatic if this ordinance passed. Saving the planet starts one town at a time. Thank you for your consideration.
Good evening. My name is Alexandra Kotlars, and I live at 102 Hartshorn Drive, Short Hills. The future of Millburn depends on this ordinance. As time goes on, and each person thinks it's only one straw, or it's only one cup, what harm can it do? Plastic pollution and styrofoam is adding up around the world. I am here on behalf of the TIGS Peer Leader Group at Millburn Middle School. We are the future of this town, so we are going to work hard to protect it. As 7th graders, we could just be going into town using plastic unaware of its impacts. Or we could be sitting at home watching television and playing video games, but we are not. We are here with you, hoping to never see the day when the pond in Taylor Park becomes Millburn's largest trash can. Thank you for your time.
Hello and good evening. I'm Aviva Winnick and I live at 221 Parsons Hill Road. Picture this, 20 or 30 years from now, when many of the people in this room will have moved to a different town per se, we TIGS peer leaders, as well as other people in the middle school, the high school, the elementary school, will still be here. If the single-use plastic bags and styrofoam containers continue to be handed to customers and citizens of Millburn, one day what we all remember to be a beautiful town will be enveloped in waste and trash and the remains of what could have been a highlight of New Jersey for good. This ordinance would help create a future for us because I don't plan on leaving because of these mistakes that will happen without a change and will continue to escalate. I'm extremely supportive of this ordinance and the Green Team's mission because they aren't just putting their perspectives into this project, but they are considering how this will affect our town's future. And the fact that this won't just impact us, but the animals and the living beings that are also in our town is really awful because they will have to suffer the consequences of our faults. We are all living in this town and this planet, so shouldn't we be the ones responsible for taking care of it? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Nana and I live on 44 Meadowbrook Road, Short Hills, and I'm a student of Millburn Middle School. We need this ordinance to be passed because soon our community is going to be in a major plastic crisis. In addition, future generations, including us kids, will have to deal with it. This ordinance will be a big step in helping us stop our plastic crisis now. We're using too much unnecessary plastic and there are more environmentally friendly options, and we need to start acting now. When we go to town on Fridays, after school, we are the customers at all of these stores, and we'd be so much happier knowing that when we go shopping or get snacks, we are not harming the environment. As a member of this community and the next generation, it is important that we start protecting our community and our earth. We need to be the change. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Neela Huja and I live at 280 Hobart Avenue. I'm not even a teenager yet, and I can tell you, if we don't do anything about this plastic problem, my generation and many generations to come will live in a world full of trash and pollution. They will suffer for the problems we, this generation, created. Do you really want to live in a world where your grandchildren have to rummage through trash to get to school? And you know you could have done something about this? This is the inevitable truth if we don't pass this ordinance in this community today. We are the future generation, and we are telling you, we want change. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Morgan Greenspan, and I'm a 7th grader at MMS, and I live at 4 Berry Lane, Short Hills. Plastic is easy. If you're late to a tennis lesson, just grab a plastic bottle and go. You want to make a smoothie? Take out a plastic straw. It's so easy. But plastic is destroying our planet. I see plastic in that river in the middle of the town. I see it in the streets and honestly everywhere I look. But people are too lazy to notice, too busy to look up for their phones and realize that what the damage is costing us. You know that place Kung Fu Tea in town? Well, I go there at least 3 times a week. I'm so obsessed. But then I realized how much plastic I'm wasting. So know what I did? I got a metal straw, one that fits the boba that I drink. And know what else? I just ordered a cup for my bubble tea online. And you know why? Because I care. I care about our environment and the earth. People need to know and start to care about this cause, but they don't. Little changes in a town can make a big impact. We should stop being lazy, get off our phones for once, get off Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, whatever we're doing for once, and start to care. Care about something that actually matters, because it does. It really does matter. I still can go to Kung Fu Tea, I just don't need my plastic straw. My friends and I have made that change, now I believe that Millburn can too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Suvid Bordia, and I'm a 4th grader at Hartshorn Elementary School. I live on 316 Long Hill Drive on Short Hills. Plastic is killing many animals in the oceans, and many whales and fish are dying because of the microplastics, and they mistake them as food. When I go to school every day, I see many people throwing out plastic in the waste bin, and I know that will stay around for 1,000 years polluting the earth. I wish to ask my principal to make this change and help everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, finally it came out of the holder. You could take it out and just hand it to the person behind you. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Sonal Bodia, and I am living on 316 Long Hill Drive. I also speak here in the capacity of a healthcare professional. I'm an oncologist by profession. So I don't want to add to the things already said here in terms of the health hazards, but I also want to add that there are published articles on this about the carcinogenic effect of plastics. endocrine effects, brain health. You search PubMed, you'll find it. Also, I want to add, in addition to what's said about plastic bags, styrofoam produces the chemical styrene, and it's a common myth that it only harms when you eat it with hot food or heat the thing, but actually anything acidic, citric acid, even fatty food or cold water can attract styrene chemicals, and it's supposed to be carcinogenic and detrimental for brain health. So from a healthcare professional perspective also, I would actively discourage it. And as one of our residents very rightfully said, this is really a matter of habit. It's not, I don't think we have to debate the health effects of plastic. It's just a matter of habit. I've seen this change in my family. It's just you become aware, you start doing little steps. It's not a lot of work, and we will support the businesses completely in the town. So there's nothing that we have to fear about. We are an educated town. We are supposed to be setting an example in front of the other towns. So as a healthcare professional, as a Millburn town resident, I really urge upon you to do this, and I am here to say that we will support the businesses. They don't have anything to worry about. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Maura Toomey. I'm the Rethink Disposable Coordinator for Clean Water Action New Jersey, and I'm here to support the work that the Environmental Commission and the Green Team have done on this ordinance. I started working with them a few years ago when I worked with Ellen and Renee on the Straws by Request campaign with some restaurants. That was modeled after a campaign that I worked on in Montclair, which was voluntarily working with restaurants to change their policies to do straws by request only. So it wasn't banning them, it was just let's ask before giving them out, or let's have customers request them first. So I'm here specifically to talk about straws, but I'm also happy to offer myself as a resource if there's questions on any other parts of it, because I've worked on this too. But I first want to say I think it's important that we think about these ordinances not as plastic bans, not as straw bans, but as reduction and reuse ordinances, since that we want to highlight the fact that these ordinances are intended to target specific consumer habits, not necessarily products. Because yes, an abundance of disposable plastics make throwaway habits harder to change, but it's really the behavior and the mentality that are the core issue, not the material itself. And ordinances like these have been proven to be effective in creating those habit changes. So that should definitely be the focus. And I just also want to give just a couple examples of success from what a straws by request policy can do based on restaurants that I've worked with previously. They end up saving money. They're really easy to implement. One restaurant that established a straws by request policy ended up preventing the use of about 35,000 straws a month. A restaurant I worked with in Montclair reduced their straw use by 90%, so almost totally eliminating them just by changing their policy. And they ended up saving over $2,000 a year just from that one change, and it didn't require any additional investment on their part to incorporate that policy into their operations. So definitely makes an impact. And I know that all of these items are only a small portion of the overall waste stream, but they do make a difference, and working at the grassroots level, the community level, for bottom-up solutions are definitely necessary in kind of solving this very complex issue, but it's got to start here, so I support this.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, my name is Sanjana Srivastava, and I live in 9 Morningside Court in Short Hills. So whenever I go to Starbucks, I always order the same thing, and I'm shocked by the amount of plastic that I get whenever I order something. So last time I went there, I got my own water bottle, and it satisfied me knowing that I was helping the earth by not getting plastic. So I also want to say that that some other towns are banning plastic. So if all of those other towns can do that, then why is Millburn not doing that?
Thank you.
Hi everyone, thank you for the opportunity. I'm going to hold up this poster. The kids made it. They're shy to hold it up, so I'll do it for them. My name is Priya Shivani. I live on 9 Morningside Court. We've heard from so many people, so many kids, and I'm going to speak to you as a voter. I'm going to speak to you as someone who is really concerned about this, and my vote is going to depend on how you vote for the ordinance. We have the elections coming up this year, in the next 2 years, so I'm going to keep it plain and simple. You vote for this, we vote for you. Everyone who's shown up here in green, most of us are going to support this. We will vote for you. This is not a quid pro quo. We're not asking you for a favor. We're asking you to represent us. We want this ordinance. I mean, everyone who's here in green wants this ordinance. You do this, we've got you. We've got your votes. So this is really a vote bank talking to you. Thank you. The other thing I want to say, it's not just the people in the room. So a lame user of social media, I just posted a picture on Happy Millburn applauding Live Breads for their sustainable practices. And most posts on Happy Millburn get like 10 likes maybe. I got 70 people actually liked my picture. Strangers, 70 strangers who I don't, some of them I know, but most of them I don't. So this is really, the people of Millburn want this. We all want this, right? And we are going to support the businesses, and we are going to, any business who does this, we're going to support them wholeheartedly. Any person from the township committee who votes for this, we're going to vote for them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jean Gordon. I live at 90 Old Hollow Road in Short Hills. I really don't have anything new to contribute. There's been so many wonderful things already said, but I just want to emphasize how doable this is. If the EU has banned single-use plastic, if India has banned plastic bags, my goodness, Millburn can. We can do this. There is no one in this town that will not shop because we are not given a plastic bag. We will go full support. I would love to walk around with a bag that shows some of the businesses in Millburn. I do carry a bag with me, and my goodness, again, if Maplewood has banned plastic bags, if Summit is banning plastic bags, I better have a reusable bag on me at all times because I'm going to need it for the other towns. So keep them in your pockets, in your coats, in your cars. Very, very doable, easy changes that we can make. Also, I just want to say really quickly, someone at an earlier hearing said, when we were talking about this issue of voice, that if you guys can remember, in New York City and other states, when they started to ban cigarette smoking in public places, people said restaurants will go out of business, bars will go out of business. Well, guess what? There were no restaurants that closed in New York City. There were no bars that closed. People changed their habits. They improved their health. They improved the quality of life of workers in restaurants and bars. Very, very easy changes can have wonderful impacts on humans, on the planet, on other animals. I'm wholeheartedly in support of this. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Jasmine Ali, and I live at 50 Pine Terrace East, and I wasn't planning on speaking here today, but I wanted to explain the urgency of the matter. I traveled to Fiji and Costa Rica because I want to study marine biology. There were large amounts, like incredible amounts of dead marine life that washed up on the shores every day from plastic consumption and plastic in the ocean. The recycling at our school, it's a facade basically. They combine the recycling at our school with the trash. There's breathing problems from the fossil fuels that are used to create this plastic that are increasing the mortality rate of children in our country today. I went to the climate strike in New York on Friday, and there were children there speaking, explaining that they were scared for their future because they are developing health problems from the air and the air quality due to the fossil fuels. I personally don't even want to have children anymore because the world won't be safe by then. By 2050, it's expected that there will be no more wild fish in the ocean due to the plastic. It's a matter of convenience versus life and death. It's an urgent matter, and I want to choose life. I want our town to be the change that the world needs, and I want you to support this ordinance. My name is Vidya Bindel. I'm in 6th grade and I go to the Millburn Middle School.
My name is Veda Bindel. I'm in 3rd grade at Hartshorn Elementary School.
We live in 7 Coleridge Road, Short Hills.
So we're here to talk about Starbucks. So there are a lot of things about Starbucks that we like their lemon pound cakes, their cake pops, their frappuccinos. But there are also some qualities that can change.
We've noticed that they have used so much plastic. They have plastic cups, plastic straws, you name it, and it's probably plastic. The thing is, they can probably change most of that. Maybe if they change it to plastic, instead of plastic cups, they have eco-friendly cups, so maybe wooden or paper. If they had, instead of plastic straws, if they had paper straws or something that was better, every little bit will help for the earth because we need it.
Okay, so those kids belong to me. Hi, my name is Nidhi Thakur. I live in 7 Coleridge Road. I'm a professor of economics in Kane University. Let me start by a short economics note. So in economics, there's a concept of externalities where the immediate buyer and seller do not take into account the side effect or the byproduct that they create for the bystander. That is an externality. So for example, a car passing by, Toyota that passed by, the company got money, that was the seller, the driver is the buyer, and they're both happy with what happened, but me, the bystander, just got a whiff of pollution on me, and that never got accounted for. So likewise, all this plastic business that we're talking about, the plastic bag technically is like 1 cent, 2 cent if you ask, but it is not 1 cent, 2 cent. The time to realize that it is not 1 cent, 2 cent, or $1 for that matter, because this plastic, this styrofoam, as has been said here oftentimes, is going to sit forever, and the pollution it creates for all of us and our generations and our earth, that cost has never been accounted for. It has not been internalized. So that's one. That ends the topic of externality. Number 2, I visited India this past summer, and I was surprised to see that the so-called third world country like India, even there in most metros, single-use plastic is already banned. So you go for shopping, whether you're going to buy potatoes, loose potatoes, or you're going to buy a swanky, nice sari, you're not going to get a plastic bag. You will get a reusable paper bag, and that whole supply chain is already in and kicking there. So if those guys can do it, and so it was for the straws, we always got paper straws there, whether it was a high-end restaurant or a roadside cafe. Anywhere we went, we did not get straws. So if those guys, everywhere else people are doing, I'm sure we can do it too. And number 3, as my friend Priya mentioned, we are here as voters. Let me also tell you, we are also here trying to speak with our purses. We will spend money in businesses that go the eco-friendly way. We will not buy stuff from places that don't do that. I will be very suspect of a restaurant that continues to use styrofoam, because I will be suspect of their entire food supply chain and their food practices, and eventually I'm going to give up on them. So as we said, we support Live Bread currently, and we will continue to go to businesses that do something like this. I'm in full support of this ordinance. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Eva Hilsenrath. I'm a sophomore at Millburn High School, and I live on 85 Mohawk Road, Short Hills. Last year, as freshmen in our science classes, we did these fish bowls, or discussions. They're very dreaded on global warming. And we learned a lot about how our climate changes, not just on we as humans, but also just the earth itself. But One of my main takeaways from it was not everything I learned in the fishbowl, but was what happened at the end of these discussions, which they'd always lead to these same feelings from everyone in the room, where we'd get really upset about how our future may turn out, that we might not be able to see a full future in which our earth is fully green. And I don't know, the rest of my class, we didn't like this. And I just think that with one small step, reducing plastic doesn't change everything, but it does make a difference in the long run. And I'd rather sit in class be more scared about homework rather than my changing climate. Thank you.
Hello. Hello, Jennifer Duckworth, 82 Linden Street, Millburn, New Jersey. I'm not going to repeat everything that everyone said. I wanted to start by, though, thanking the Environmental Commission and the Green Team, because they have been working on this for years and years and years and years. And I want to thank all of you for considering this. I hope after all of this, I want to say how very proud I am of this town to have come together. It wasn't long ago that we weren't organized and that the environment wasn't taking a priority, and I think the town is doing great. I would like to challenge people who are talking about paper straws and paper cups and changing over to other kinds of plastics to maybe think about bringing your own container, bringing your own coffee cup to Starbucks, bringing your own reusable straws, bringing your own bags, and all those things people can do. I also teach at Kane University, and the students are, I teach environmental science, and the students are very concerned, just like these students, with what's going on. And this is just a small step, and I really want to put a push that this is just one of many reduction ordinances that you can pass, and I'm hoping that the next one that comes up is for no balloon releases, no intentional balloon releases. I really believe that should be moving forward soon after this one. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Peng Huang. I live at 52 Wellington Avenue, Short Hills. As you know, earlier today I came up here as part of the Boy Scout group, but I want to talk about this as a citizen of Millburn, New Jersey, and the world. I love all the things that people have been saying so far. However, I also want to consider how this might influence people around us as well. Obviously, as a town, Millburn, we want our own decisions to influence these, but also consider the fact that again and again, many of the arguments that have been made here include the fact that we wouldn't be the first. We are definitely not setting a trend. Many people before us, even locally, relatively speaking, have already done this. And if we pass this ordinance here, it is fully possible that might help towards changing the entirety of having more influence across the U.S. to allow for more similar ordinances to pass. Because obviously, currently with the amount of pollution that's been happening, it's important that we go to mitigate the current issues and reduce the amount of plastic produced and wasted. However, as a single town, we won't be enough to stop it completely. If we can work to get more and more people to do similar things across the nation, we can really start putting a dent into how much plastic is wasted.
Thank you.
Hi, Richard Wasserman, 24 Inverness Court, and I think it's time that we step towards sustainability, if I could say that clearly anyway. And I also want to thank our Environmental Commission. They've done an amazing job. I've seen them at work, and they've spent hours and hours of work, and I personally want to thank them. And I will also want to mention how proud I am of our kids to come out and really lead the community in this. They're so articulate, they're amazing, and I'm so proud to be a resident of the town. And so without repeating what everybody said, I fully support the ordinance, and I hope we pass it.
Hi, I'm Jack Wenzel. I live at 23 Thackeray Drive in Short Hills.
I'm a senior at Millburn High School, and I'm a member of the Environmental Commission. I am also the president of the MHS Environmental Club. And I just got 4 more awards for you guys. If not now, when?
Hi, my name is Isha Bandari, and I'm a 6th grader at Millburn Middle School. So when I am in one of my classes, and I'm like, oh God, how am I going to take this big metal water bottle to all my classes? I turn around and I see that the girl behind me, she has a plastic water bottle. I'm like, oh, I should do that. But little did I know that that plastic water bottle probably end up in the sea. So now when I walk back, when on Fridays when I walk to the library, I look around and I see that there's a plastic bag on the ground and somebody's dropped their Twix wrapper here and there, and I'm wondering, how does this get there and where's it gonna be? Well, it's carried by the wind, and when you put your plastic into the recycling bin, only 2% of it is actually recycled. So this is why I support this ordinance, and this is why you should ban plastic, because that way we are saving the marine life in the ocean, and we're saving ourselves from having to breathe in this pollution, which is made to create the plastic. And you might think that it's going to be so hard to change, but turns out there are actually people in Manhattan who live plastic-free lives. And like they said, in India and in Maplewood and in Chatham, they have they've banned plastic, so we can do it too, right? So this is why I support this ordinance. Thank you.
Kiran Shanbag, 508 Wyoming Avenue. I'm here to support the ordinance.
Thank you. Well, that was impressive and amazing. And when this gets to Trenton, a copy of this video will go to the Trenton, right? Because it can't be said better than what y'all said. So with that, I'm going to open the discussion amongst the committee. If you have any questions, and we'll start to my left with Committeewoman Prupis. If you have any questions for the Environmental Committee or the woman from the, I'm sorry, what was it? Yeah. Clean Water Action, about anything concerning resolution.
I don't have any questions for them. I just want to understand, I have some questions
Okay.
about the ordinance and the process and what's happening. So they're submitting a resolution. So and then Kit is going to write an ordinance based on that.
If we have support from at minimum 3 of us on the committee, then yes, there would be a subcommittee that would work with Kit's law firm to draft an official ordinance that then come before us for a vote.
Okay, so there are some things that I have questions about, and some things that delivery. So if the plastic bag, this has come up. Some merchants talk to in terms of how they're going to charge for delivery the 5 cents, and they don't have an answer for it. And they've called places in towns that have passed these ordinances, and they're like, we don't do it. So if they don't have mechanisms in place to charge for, and we're talking about the paper bag. So let me make it clear, the whole plastic bag ban, fine. But it's more of the nuance of it. I don't think we should be, until we have a certain way for our restaurants to either charge the 5 cents, or I don't think that's going to deter. Plus, it's delivery. We have to get them the food somehow, right? So I don't think they should be penalized for delivering food in a paper bag. So I don't think that we should have 5 cents. If we're going to ban plastic bags, let's just get rid of the plastic bags and the styrofoam containers. I'm all fine with both of those things, but I don't think we should be charging for the paper bags.
Do you mean in any sense or just for the delivery?
Even at
the ShopRites and the Walgreens and the CVS. So you're not in favor of charging 5 cents?
Well, I'm not, actually. First of all, no 5 cents. But then specifically about delivery. So then, we need to look at that, how they do it. And then if we're trying to tell people to bring their own bags, why are we charging them for a delivery? How are they supposed to get their food? Because they can't
pick up. Like if you pick
No,
up.
no, I'm talking about delivery. Like
Okay,
if
so-
you order in and you want food
Like
delivered to your
DoorDash or Uber Eats.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or just like if you order Lestrada and you want your like food delivered to your house. How is it gonna get delivered? And why are you paying a bag fee? How are you gonna get your food? So that's number one.
Can I?
What about, oh, yeah.
Sorry, I just want to respond to that, because when
Okay.
you read the proposed ordinance.
Okay.
It says, all retail establishments may make recyclable paper carrier bags available to customers upon request for a fee of 5 cents per bag if customers choose not to bring their own reusable bags. So if you read it, it's implied that if it's somebody going to a store, I don't read this as requiring a 5-cent fee on delivery. I don't see that
Okay, so
in
there's
here.
no delivery fee.
If that's the way I would read this, I don't see a delivery fee.
So we're gonna write that in the ordinance, no delivery fee.
I mean, we could. We could if you want to clarify it, but I don't read this as requiring a 5-cent fee for delivery.
Okay.
But can I stay on this 5-cent subject for
Yeah,
a second?
please.
Because I have another question. So if we have a 5-cent per bag for the supermarket, let's say, who gets the 5 cents?
The retailer. Renee, would you like to speak to
Okay,
this?
so my question is, can we, as a town, require a shopper to pay an extra 5 cents to a private company? No. That's my question.
Well, you're not requiring them to pay because they have an option not to take that bag. No one's forcing them to take that paper bag. They can bring their own bag, they can purchase a reusable bag, or they can choose for a fee of 5 cents to take a paper bag. So no one's being forced. And it has been the practice, and apparently according to taxation laws in the state of New Jersey, that the money would then go to the retailer. They would collect the fee if they choose to. I mean, they could even give a credit to people if they wanted to, according to what's written in this resolution, for people who bring their own bag. That's up to them. But no one is forcing. It's not a tax. No one's forcing anyone to purchase anything.
So basically what we're saying is rather than have a fee, shouldn't it be that a customer can purchase for a fee, for 5 cents? In other words, just like you can purchase a takeaway bag, a reusable bag, you can purchase a paper bag for, I mean, that's really, I think, how you
If
have
you
to look at it.
if you forgot your bag, you have the option to pay 5 cents for a brown
Or
bag.
$1 for.
Right, because remember, well, first of
That's
all,
fine.
too, I want to go back to the delivery. You'll craft whatever you're going to craft as far as delivery. 5 cents, you know, you could work it out as it being a one-time. South Orange, for example, is doing for their deliveries a one-time 5-cent charge, not for every paper bag for a delivery, but rather 1 5-cent fee for the entire delivery. So South Orange is going to work that out. How it's technically going to happen, I would have to, you know, ask them. But how they've worked it out. We can also look, as we've been talking to Andrew Morgan from the Millburn Deli, to inquire of the more technical people at DoorDash, for example. And it seems very hard to believe that with all of the computer work that they can do, any algorithm they can come up with, they can't manage to put a 5-cent one-time fee on a delivery, if that's the way you choose to go. But remember too, as far as the 5-cent fee on the paper bag, the point is, as we've heard over and over again here tonight, to change habits. So paper bags are not an answer, you know, we're not trying to move from plastic to paper, not at all. However, to provide a shopper who wants to pay or will pay the 5 cents because they haven't remembered their bag, or for some reason they want the bag, they may pay the 5 cents.
No, we understand
Yeah.
that the fee really is meant to dissuade people
Right.
from using them, and B, provide an option.
Mhm.
Right, no, we get that, it's just a matter of what makes sense for us.
And another,
I can't
I just
imagine
want,
that wait, can I, because
Go
I
ahead.
mean, I can't imagine that 5 cents is gonna deter anyone. I mean, I own a store, so I'm doing this all the time, and we don't even have bags, right? I don't have bags. They could buy a usable bag, bring a bag, we give them boxes that the bottles come in, like, I don't think 5 cents is going to make the impact. And again, so I'm all for all of these practices. I've had them in my store since, the beginning and moving through them, and it's amazing. I tried to do the no bag 3 years ago, and people kind of freaked, and now the habits are already changing, so they're like, I don't need a bag, it's all good. But I don't think 5 cents is going to deter it, and I think it's going to be more of an issue for the merchants. So
More of a headache.
more of a headache. So I'm totally for a lot of this. I don't want the 5 cents in it.
Interestingly enough, it has been found that the 5 cent fee does make a difference. People are reluctant to pay.
Well, one of the reasons they're reluctant to pay is because it is a tax, okay? You can couch it any way you want. It's actually a double tax. It's a tax on the person that has to pay it. It's a tax on the merchant that has to receive it, because the merchant gets taxed on the income based on that 5
Apparently they
cents.
don't.
No, they do. And also, some merchants in Millburn have paid percentage rents as well, too. So if their total income exceeds a certain amount each month, they get charged more rent. So they might look at that as a double tax. Now, you may say, well, what's 5 cents? How many bags are there? Is that really going to pop a threshold on a percentage rent? I don't know. The proposed ordinance we received says there are 500 million bags wasted per day. I assume that's a typo. I don't think it could possibly be 500 million straws rather, are discarded every day. There are only 360 million people in the country, and I don't think people are throwing away 2 straws a day.
I think we corrected that last time. You brought that point up the last time.
Okay, so.
And we clarified that.
So, well, I'm only reading the ordinance that was presented to me. So the point is, I mean, I think everyone here supports making corrections to climate change. I would submit that global warming is the single biggest threat to humanity since a comet last struck the Earth many millions of years ago. But the question is, how do we implement something like that? And I share what I think are Cheryl's concerns, perhaps Tara's, that I'd be more in favor of supporting an ordinance. And I thought we were only talking about plastic bags, not straws today. But I'd be more in favor of supporting an ordinance that had no fee on it and just banned plastic bags. And frankly, I'd support one that banned paper too, because as I mentioned the last time this was presented, this is effectively swapping one climate change environmental concern for what many scientists believe is a larger one, and that is swapping paper or plastic for paper creates a different change. And I think that this ordinance should reflect that as well too.
Can I address that point? Because this came up at the last meeting in August to Committeeman Levy, and I just want to make it perfectly clear that there's a life cycle of this plastic bag. Fossil fuels are extracted, bags are manufactured, they're taken somewhere, they're used for a minute, 10 minutes, an hour, 3 days, they're disposed, and then they end up somewhere. Paper bags are biodegradable. They don't end up floating in the Rahway River. They don't end up floating in oceans or other waterways. So it's very important to always realize that a plastic bag has a much longer life cycle, if not an infinite life cycle, in comparison to a paper bag.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think the more compelling argument is that the carbon footprint to create paper bags, which would be the natural substitute here, indeed the ordinance provides for it. The carbon footprint is greater to create those paper bags, which would substitute, than it is for the plastic bags. I get it, the plastic bags have a 1,000-year life cycle and the paper bags don't. But the question is, which one is more harmful to the environment? And the science is uneven on this. It really is uneven on this. And
Well-
most leading scientists on this, and the young woman Greta Thunberg, if I'm mentioning her name, who spoke to the UN, addressed this as well. That is even a bigger threat to the extent that we take her words as the science in this area.
Okay, I'd like to ask 2 points to what you said, Sam. The rent percent, is he talking about like stores in the Short Hills Mall? Because I don't believe our stores downtown have a rent.
Well, Short Hills malls all have percentage rents, and I don't know.
Right.
I'm not the landlord for every tenant in town, so I don't know what
That's
they have.
easy. You can just make it optional to the to
Yeah.
the merchant, and then you sort of
And-
deal with that issue immediately.
Right, and I was in Hawaii this summer, and my husband and I, back there, Michael, we were charged 10 cents for our bag at the supermarket. We were at a hotel with our own kitchen, we went, did some food shopping, and they said 10 cents for your bag. We're like, oh, okay. And we did not scoff, we did not have an issue with that at all. We did not have a bag, and we had to purchase a
I
bag.
don't think you should. I think you should make it $10 a bag. If you want to
Well-
deter conduct, make it $10 a
Okay,
bag.
I think that this is where most of the ordinances are coming in. They charge for the bag, it's your option to buy that bag from this retailer, and it will change behavior. And sometimes maybe I might want 5-cent bag to put all my newspapers in. That will be my choice if I don't have a string to wrap my newspapers. But it is about changing behavior. The paper bag does cost the retailer slightly higher than the plastic bag, so that helps them. And if you remember years ago, you used to get 2 cents back at ShopRite when you bought a bag. Somehow they managed to do that on the cash register without issue. If you bought 5 bags, you
Yeah, I
saved-
have a bag discount. I give 20 cents for anyone that comes in and has a bag.
So why is
you
it
can
wait,
do
Tara,
that.
I wasn't finished. Why is it a problem to give someone a 2-cent discount on bringing a bag, but it's a problem to charge them 5 cents for a bag? It's the same.
I don't know, the merchants have
register.
said it is a problem. I mean,
No,
it's their register system.
I have not heard from the merchants. How about you?
No,
We
the
haven't heard that.
merchants,
Yeah.
the merchants are not saying that it's difficult in the store.
Yeah.
What the issue
With
that
orders.
Tara brought up is when you're talking about DoorDash or Uber Eats. How does that, I guess the way that it works, the payment doesn't come directly through the store. I'm not an expert on this, but so somehow or another DoorDash or Uber Eats
Grubhub.
has to
Right.
add that one-time 5-cent fee, if that's what it was determined it was going to be for delivery.
Right.
So.
And the same merchant also talked about food safety being compromised as well, too, without plastic bags.
And this is,
I-
there's like
I
So
also
staple a bag.
No, I also spoke to you, Priya, and I spoke to Andrew Morgan, that the excessive moisture in a plastic bag in a takeout delivery and the food safe.
Yep.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
would you come up, Andrew? Yeah. Because everyone's going to be referring to you, so.
So Andrew Morgan, 328 Millburn Avenue, Millburn, Delhi. I think the only point that I'll really speak to, and I think the topic that they're kind of dancing around for me, is twofold. One, when a delivery comes in through DoorDash or Uber Eats, which has become a significant part of our business, sometimes 40 to 50% of my business, there is no way. I've contacted the folks at DoorDash. I've had a back and forth. There is no way for them to automatically charge a 5-cent fee. I know there are states that do this, that DoorDash operates in. California, for example. I asked them what they do in those situations. They just price everything up. They take every item on the menu and charge up by 5 cents or whatever the bag fee is. So there is, or they do an option to add the 5-cent fee on the delivery, but it's an option. They have no mechanism currently, at least through the higher ups in New York City who I've spoken to automatically charge for that fee.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So if it were optional for you, would that be easier?
Significantly easier, only because if an order comes in on DoorDash now, like for me to contact 60 people
Right.
individually to collect 5 cents, and I would also posit that if truly the 5 cents is to dissuade people from using paper, how is that dissuading people from delivery? They don't have the option, so in that case it is a tax. They don't have a choice. If they want it delivered, they have to pay the 5 cents. They can't bring their own bag and whatever. So the rest of it, like plastic, great, whatever, like there are issues that ultimately I could work around, but the 5-cent thing, if I'm going to be honest, I spent some time on the phone last night calling merchants in Hoboken, telling them who I was and why I was asking these questions so they wouldn't get nervous. And look, it's anecdotal and it's 3 merchants, I called 3 pizza shops, and they all told me that when the orders come in on Uber Eats, they just don't charge the bag fee. Even though the ordinance in the town says they have to.
Andrew, thank you. We
Yep.
could definitely work with that. And thank you for taking time to meet with Jackie. You met with me.
Thank you for listening, and I know
Yes.
Renee
You met with
and
Renee.
everybody who was.
I just think you don't have it on the
Right.
library and
Yeah, because you're going to draft the ordinance.
Exactly.
And the only thing that I would say in regard to what Andrew just said is if we certainly don't want to go in the direction of those that just are disregarding the law.
We understand.
Okay.
We got it.
Just, okay.
We got it.
Okay, Tara,
So we're going to make the merchant, like, optional if a merchant wants to or not?
Yeah, I mean, if they're
So why
paying the
even put
extra
it in
delivery.
there?
Just
No, on delivery, I don't think you have it at all. I think you just don't have it on delivery
Right,
because it
so
doesn't
in the-
make sense.
Right.
So if a merchant who's paying extra for paper instead of plastic wants to charge 5 cents a bag.
But why
so-
would that, if it's, how do you put something optional like that in the ordinance? Why don't you just leave it out?
Well, because they believe that it is a deterrent.
But if it's optional, like, it doesn't make any sense.
I think it would be optional for delivery, as far as for.
No, that's not what Cheryl's saying, that's not what Sam's saying, so there's 3 people up here who
No,
don't.
not for delivery, I'm sorry, yeah, not for delivery,
It
but
shouldn't
5
be
cent.
Well, it shouldn't be required. Why should a merchant have to charge it if it doesn't want to charge it?
Because it has to be the process to begin changing behavior. And even though you say 5 cents is not a lot of money, when you get charged, it will ding in your brain and your subconscious that I'm going to start bringing my bags from home because I have about 10. And Renee was nice enough to bring a stack so everyone could please take one.
I have some other questions about the carve-outs. Like, I do not think that in the supermarket, people need produce plastic bags. Like, that's where they should be charged for it. So I want that carve-out out. Like, that's the most ridiculous thing ever when people go and put their produce in a plastic bag.
Well,
No,
if someone's buying 10 apples, they might not be able to carry 10
They should
apples.
bring in their own bags.
They should bring in
So
bags
that's
for
it.
everything.
So if I'm
If
gonna
you're
like start
trying to-
writing laws about this,
If
I'm gonna
you're
write some laws.
trying to change behavior, then change the behavior.
Yeah.
That's the point. The
Right.
point is, if
So
you're gonna
that
try to
carve-out's
change behavior,
gone.
just
Charge them
change-
$10 per bag.
Well, Tara, it's not necessarily gone because we haven't even gotten to the point that we're going to be able to draft an ordinance.
But we're
that's what we're
talking about it right
discussing
now,
here.
right? I
What-
think that we're all
what agree
talking, we all want something. Sam, you want something?
Yes, $10 a bag.
Please. Please, comment, since you didn't get to speak during public comment.
So why can't we leave it, let them factor in the price of what they're selling? You're selling, add 5 cents, whatever, just charge it. People here are spoiled. This is Short Hills. This is one of the richest community in the United States. And we're talking about 5 cents? I'm sorry.
You want to talk more?
So what
Any
about
other-
like, I have more comments.
Yeah, go ahead.
So
Guys,
like,
guys.
when
Mike,
bags
sit down.
sweat, when paper bags sweat, right? So
Yes.
in the summer, when you put cold things in, a paper bag is gonna like get wet and then everything's gonna fall through. How do we deal with that?
Well, you don't have to use paper bags. I don't think anybody says you have to. You can be
You're
using,
picking up your own
you're taking
order?
your own.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's very easy to get a bag which is a cloth bag, which
Oh,
is
I know.
as
I
cheap
only
or
use
cheaper than a
cloth
paper
bags.
bag.
I understand this. You
So
don't
you
have
just-
to convince me. I totally get it. I mean, I'm like as green as they
All right.
come.
All right.
These are issues though. Like if we're gonna write,
but I don't think they're saying you have to use it. They're saying you can make them available. That the point is, we're
but
trying
we're
to
having no
have-
plastics.
Correct.
Okay.
So if somebody forgets their bags, let's
Yeah.
say they would otherwise bring their own bags, right?
Yeah.
And somebody forgets their bags and buys some milk and juice and cans of Coke or whatever it is they had, and they're all cold and they start sweating in the plastic bag, and before they get to their car, everything falls out. Well, you know what?
Sucks to me.
Next time, exactly. Next time, they're not gonna forget their bag.
That's right.
What about, I have a question. I agree with Tara on some of these carve-outs. Why are we excluding dry cleaning bags? Because the environment is good to protect unless someone's white shirt might get a little dirty. Then we're
Right,
not gonna
it's
really
like-
protect the environment. So
I believe
we're
I-
making cultural choices
Sam,
here.
I believe there is not a equivalent substitute to be able to bring your dry cleaning home in. And I think some
Cloth,
cleaners.
Paper.
cloth bags like the
Paper or cloth. They all come,
Cloth.
but you take your you take your
like
stuff
dress
in a cloth
bags,
bag.
cloth dress bags.
So you can work with your cleaners and say, when I pick my clothes up, I do not want them to be in plastic.
I know, so let's compel them to do it like we're compelling
And then
other
do
people
they
to
get
do
a
it.
10 cents? Like, do they get taxed for at the dry cleaners?
I think
On
this
the
is
plastic
meant to
bags?
be a beginning. This is not going to solve every single issue. Issues will continue to crop up. This is a beginning about the plastic, the single-use plastic bags, the single-use, guys, please respect, the single-use plastic straws, and the styrofoam. This is a beginning. This is
I think
a very,
styrofoam
very
should be banned, for
well,
sure.
it's in the
I
resolution.
know, but I have problems with some of the other things.
There'll be problems anywhere. If we pick this apart line by line, we will not get anywhere.
But
I believe it's a start.
We will what?
And if we put this off and we nitpick every single line, we won't even be able to get this to our
So
attorney.
wait a minute, we're not voting on an ordinance tonight, right?
Right.
We're just discussing what we want to see in it, so we can write it and hopefully have it for the first reading in November. Right, Kit?
The first reading is election day. We don't really have a full business meeting, isn't it?
November
it's November
12th.
12th.
November 12th. that
November
meeting.
12th.
We have a meeting?
Yeah, we only have
Just
one
one
in
meeting in
November
Oh.
because of, whatchamacallit?
Oh, league?
Yeah.
I thought there was
So-
always a meeting on
And because of the
election night.
election.
Oh,
That's in
okay.
June.
Oh, that's in June. Okay, sorry.
So I think if we can figure out what the majority of us, because at the end of the day, it's gonna be a majority of us agree on, then, we can, so you have the carve-out issues. What other issues do you have?
I think I said all my issues.
All the carve-outs?
No, not all of the carve-outs, just the produce bag in the plastics. Like, I
And
think
the, and the
that
cleaning?
What about the dry cleaning bag?
Yeah, I have an issue with the dry cleaning bag.
Where are the, okay, so newspaper
About
bags,
newspaper
door hangers,
bags.
laundry,
Can't get the
dry
New York
cleaning
Times
bag.
dirty, so we have to continue with the newspaper bags,
Yeah, you
right?
have to leave the newspapers in their bags.
I don't think there should be a 5 cent. I don't think there should be any, I think the 5 cent should be out. I still think we should have a styrofoam ban. Oh, let's talk about the straws, because, so anybody can ask for a straw?
Oh, yeah, I do wanna talk about
Because
straws.
I have,
It
you
makes
know,
no sense to me, the straw
Like,
thing.
so, my customers, and I tried the paper, and I will go, so I'm gonna have both. But anybody can ask for a plastic straw, because I can't say, do you have a disability?
Right, exactly. I mean,
So
that
I'm going to
concept
have
is
to
right.
buy plastic straws
Right.
for
who
potential of the people who have it. Good thing I have like,
Well, no, you could buy paper straws, or you could buy corn straws,
And
which
then
are
if-
triple the price, or you could buy metal straws, which I don't know how much they are. So
right.
you do have
No,
options.
I have metal straws coming, for sure, with my
But you're gonna charge
logo
for
on
those.
it.
So I think the
Yes,
issue
they
is
can
you,
buy it.
you can buy a lot less straws, like if the
But
restaurants
I'm
like,
still gonna have to purchase
but you
plastic
can
straws.
purchase a vast amount less.
Well, but what if someone's disabled and they want a plastic straw and I don't have one for them?
You have to give it to them.
And they ask. If they ask, anybody can walk in and say, I'd like a plastic straw.
More will address this.
Okay, great.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. But I want to make sure I'm following the process. But with the straws by request policy, the focus is on reducing the overall quantity of waste. So whether it's paper, whether it's plastic, if it's straws by request across the board, it's about changing that behavior and reducing the quantity. So you would still be purchasing straws, just significantly fewer. So the restaurant that I mentioned when I was speaking earlier, they reduced their straw use 90%.
Yeah.
That's significant, and that's also goes along with the whole goal of what these ordinances are about, which is changing the behavior, not the material.
Get it.
So
But am
what
I
if-
required?
One at a time, please. One at a
Am
time,
I
please.
required to have plastic straws in my shop in case someone comes in and says, I need a plastic straw?
Yes, you are.
But yes, but Tara, as she has said, you will not be buying. Wait, can we do one at a time, please? You will not be buying the significant quantity, like when I go to Oscar's and they no longer will throw a straw on my table. I will have to ask for a straw if I decide that I want one.
Well, but that's not what the ordinance says, so
No,
that's
I'm
the
just-
proposed
but
ordinance, so
I'm
that's what I
talking-
wanna try to figure
Yes.
out. The proposed ordinance then is not that it's gonna be banned, it's no food service business shall sell or provide a single-use plastic straw to a customer. That's not what we're saying. We're saying you can only provide it upon request. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right, but
Okay.
Cheryl, what happens if in Tara's shop, plug your store for a moment, that somebody orders a smoothie and you put the straw in it, knowing that the person naturally needs a straw to drink the smoothie, if that's the order. Now, what is the proposed violation? Because that's an ordinance violation right there. So instead of the person asking for a straw, let's say her server by mistake just puts one in the drink and sends a customer on the way. That's an ordinance violation. What should the proposed penalty be for that?
So any enforcement should always be about compliance, assistance, rather than penalties.
Okay, should there
How
be a
can we
financial
help?
penalty for that?
There can be.
I know there can be. Should there be? In your estimation, should there be? Because you're the one, the proponent of this.
I think there should be steps taken before a financial
You
penalty.
get 2 passes, 5 passes. I mean, how many?
Sam,
The way we
please.
have the ordinance written, section 18-2.8, you get a warning first, and then after that, we build in a fine structure. Obviously, we recognize that it's, if you elect to go forward with this, that it will get drafted and you could, change the penalties to whatever you want. But
No,
that's
we
the way
can't.
we envision it, that there will be a warning.
$100 penalty, I see.
But
Well, first it's a warning, all
Right.
right? Then we have a $100 penalty. If you think that's too punitive, change it to 50. Whatever you think is necessary to get merchants to change that behavior so they don't do it.
I'd rather charge $100 for the bag, is what I'd rather
Well,
do.
I'm with you on that.
Well, here's my question. What happens if,
Tara, there's no requirement unless there's a New Jersey law that I'm not familiar with, there are a lot of attorneys here, that requires you to provide plastic straws to anyone. Every merchant in New Jersey must have a plastic straw to
Not plastic,
give
but you
to
have to
someone?
provide a straw under the ADA. If somebody
Must.
asks for a straw, you have to provide, you have to provide a reasonable facility under the ADA for disabled persons, and if that's deemed to be a straw, then you have to provide a straw. There's nothing in the regs that say it has to be plastic, but you
Okay.
have to provide a straw.
So there you go.
So Sam, you're from Pittsburgh, a friend of mine was from Pittsburgh, and she could not find a straw. She was visiting her family.
I
and
could
she
send her to a place where she could find
And they said they have banned plastic straws, and we haven't gotten our paper straws in. There were no straws in like 3 or 4 restaurants she went to. She didn't suffer. Nobody suffered.
I don't speak on behalf of the city of
I'm
Pittsburgh.
just
so-
saying it has to be.
so I'm not required to have plastic straws then?
You are not required.
You're just required to have straws,
Just straws.
So,
and you can't charge for them.
but
Say,
but the
please,
ordinance is
guys.
drafted. The ordinance is drafted by our environmental commission.
Right.
Says, a food service may provide a single-use plastic straw to a person that requires a single-use plastic straw due to a disability or
That's what I'm
medical
saying.
condition. That's what.
May.
But why
Why
should we
would
allow
may
it
at
at
all?
all if we are interested in
Right.
banning
Well, this
plastic
could be
use?
something that you will take care of after it gets to the attorney.
As we draft the
Yeah,
ordinance?
yeah.
Okay, so
But we
the
need to hash it out
environmental
now,
commission
don't we?
doesn't think that we have to have plastic straws. You
Wait,
guys
can
put
we
it
do
in
that?
here.
Right.
You guys
Because
put
this
it
is the
in
gold
here, so that's
standard.
why.
This is the gold standard. This is the optimum. This resolution states the gold standard for what is being requested.
Can we just start
And that
recycling?
is getting rid of all the plastic straws, except if someone were to need one, I suppose.
Well, that's really
the-
my question,
right.
is why did you keep the plastic straws
Upon request.
upon request in the proposed ordinance if the goal is to get rid of all plastic and there are alternatives that you could have otherwise? That really was my question, was there a reason for keeping
I
plastic
think one
straws
of
in?
the reasons was that that is a typical
We did model
portion
it off
of the ordinance that you will find in many other municipalities that have addressed
So I
the
can have
straws.
some plastic straws if I choose for
Correct.
someone who says, hey Tara, I would like a plastic straw.
Period.
But what happens then, like, if a lot of my customers know that and they like plastic straws? I can't control their behavior. And they're like, Tara, we hate the paper straw because it disintegrates in the smoothie, and mine is a particular thing because I saw smoothies and juices, it's not like water. So then now, do I just give
Because I
them the
feel
plastic
like-
straw?
Yeah,
Because they
okay.
asked, and do I have to?
Okay, let's
This is
This goes-
important stuff.
This, yeah.
So, I don't want to. If what I'm saying isn't making sense, let me know. But the focus is on overall reduction. So even if a few customers catch on and say, "Ooh, if I ask, I can get one," the majority of customers will not if they're not automatically given a straw with every order. And so you will see a reduction in overall waste from straws, and that will be accomplishing the goal of this ordinance in changing most of the consumer's behavior.
And I think it's really about the water and the soda and the iced tea that you're getting at the diner, at Oscar's, at the pizza store. It's, if the smoothie needs a straw, the smoothie gets a
Alright.
straw,
Got it.
okay? I think that's
Okay.
pretty basic. That'll be our new saying, if the smoothie needs a straw,
Right, they're coming.
Right?
so you'll be ahead of the curve. Any other particulars?
So to
So
address,
sorry, go Jackie.
so to address the bags with respect to dry cleaning and fruits, vegetables, nuts, was this what was recommended based upon another ordinance? If you want to speak, right, so is this what Maplewood and South Orange have adopted with respect to their merchants and what they have found to
And
be
Hoboken, and Jersey
acceptable?
City, and Lambertville,
Here's
yeah.
an example of a sign. Maplewood's ordinance went into effect July 1st. So their green team has created and provided all of these signs to local retailers so that local retailers can put it in a clearly visible place in their storefront to give them cover. So if there's ever any customer that comes into Tara's business and says, hey, why can't you give me a bag? I really, really need a bag, or why can't you give me a straw or styrofoam? And she can point the customer in the direction of this kind of sign and say, this is the town ordinance, and we're trying to promote reusability and reuse and bringing your own bags and more sustainable behavior. And yes, that is, they list all the carve-outs here so that there's no confusion, and it is a very standard list of exemptions.
Have
We're
you
just kind of following the template.
Have you spoken to any of the cleaners, how they would work it if they could not put men's suits or women's dresses in a plastic bag? I don't think, I'm not sure, I can't speak for the general population, how people would feel about picking up $100 worth of dry cleaning, they're very expensive suits, if they weren't protected. Some people might be okay, and I don't know how, like Tide, just for instance, everything's very automated. I don't even know how that works if everything automatically gets a shaft of a bag on it. I think it's something that we could talk to the cleaners, we have quite a few cleaners in town. We could find out if that could be a customer preference. I'm not gonna ask you what cleaners you go to and how that works, but I think it's something that we could maybe delve into a little deeper. Because those are probably really, they come home and they go right into the garbage, and they're thick, and they're dangerous.
Well, first of all, you should put them at ShopRite or Target or
Right,
wherever.
but they're not
they're
being
bringing.
recycled. But it's like, and then the tamper-proof bags, delivery bags, I think we should talk about that.
Okay, wait, one more question, we're on cleaner bags.
I just wanted to comment on why those carve-outs are there to begin with, because, you know, we all would agree that we want to eliminate all of these plastic disposable items. But that the focus for these ordinances, again, is on targeting specific behaviors and looking at what people, what their behaviors are when they go shopping. They bring their own reusable bag. That's the behavior that's being targeted. With straws, it's, I'm gonna not ask for a straw. That's the specific behavior. These carve-outs kind of consider the produce bags and the dry cleaning bags almost like a packaging item, which packaging is a whole other problem that needs to be tackled. But that's kind of why they are carved out, because they're kind of considered a different behavior and a different practice. So not saying there's no way around that, but that's kind of why those are the trend for what towns usually do. So I just wanted to.
Thank you.
We could be the first, though.
Well,
They
let's
did
get
say we
this
should be
done.
Right, we should be ahead of the
Right?
curve.
They did say that, okay,
Full plastic
so.
bag.
I mean,
And
I
the
don't-
tamper-proof bags for delivery,
I don't
can we
think you're
exempt
gonna-
those?
Andrew said that
Carve that
eventually
out?
he's okay without using that,
Oh, Andrew, you're good?
To use them.
to not use them. It's
Staples,
fine.
apparently. I'm afraid
There you
of
go.
staples in food, but apparently that's the thing, so.
Don't put them in the food.
I'll try it, I'll
Right.
experiment.
I know,
Thanks,
Andrew. On the bag.
Chinese, Thai, a lot of the food comes, the bag is stapled shut, and even if it were to fall off the bag, it would fall outside in the delivery man's car, and it would not get in your wrapped sandwich or chicken chow mein, whatever. So I don't think that,
I'm not worried about that.
you know, could be an issue.
And all this is gonna happen at the mall, too.
Yeah.
All the mall stores are going to be
We've met
charging.
with Jamie Cox, the manager of Short Hills Mall. He is from out west where this has already taken place, and
I spend a lot of time in the Berkshires.
So
not a
in terms
plastic
of-
bag to be seen.
Right, so what are we doing about the fee then? How are you
I
gonna
believe
write
the
that?
5-cent fee needs to be there,
I think that we exempt delivery
exempt delivery.
and charge customers who fail to bring their own bags 5 cents at the grocery store, any other store that happens to have a paper bag. I'm fine with that, it doesn't,
I agree.
you know. I'll
Are
do
you
that.
saying just grocery stores?
No,
You said
or
grocery-
any other, I said, or any
Okay,
other store that
gotcha.
happens to have a reusable bag available for sale.
And then, so our code enforcer is gonna walk around town, Alex, and make sure that this is all happening? How are they enforcing it in,
We have a code enforcer, who probably needs a doppelganger.
we're gonna need
I think
another
there's a
code
6
enforcer.
There's a 6-month rollout.
Uh-huh.
By the time this passes from our first read to our second read, there's then a 6-month rollout, which is a very long time. Maplewood had a 3-month. So I think this will give us enough time to work with our merchants, our enforcer, everybody, and basically our customers. And you heard, I don't know, 50 people speak that they're going to frequent the stores that are not handing out plastics.
But that's gonna be everyone, because
right.
it's gonna be
That's right.
banned,
That-
so.
Right.
That's not a
So-
gratuitous
But they're
thing, they
not
have to
being
do
in
it.
Which should
Millburn.
be great for the town.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome.
We've heard our public say, we will support the
There
town.
will be no
that does
increase
this,
in
so
commerce
it'll be
because
great.
if there's a ban, everyone has to do it. So there's no,
You're right, so this is an all-around win-win.
no, it's not. It's a
Yes.
break even on it because no one's not gonna go to a place because they already don't have the plastic bags.
If you didn't
And-
pass it
It's for the
tonight,
environment.
how about this, Sam, if you
I
didn't
say
pass it,
the
and then
jury's
stores
out
are
on that
doing
one.
it
Let's-
But delivery is
voluntarily,
not
will they
gonna
get
be-
a better customer?
Well, they will make that decision about which customers they
that's
attract and
Andrew.
which they don't attract.
Okay.
We'll call it Andrew's Law.
Nice. He
But
deserves a
Kit
lot.
doesn't have any drafting guidelines here.
Yes, he will have a committee to work with, you have a subcommittee to work
Who's the
with.
subcommittee?
Jackie and Cheryl are gonna write the ordinance.
Okay,
Jackie and Cheryl.
all right, so, any other points of discussion from the committee?
I think we-
Why are pharmacy prescription bags,
Confidentiality.
yeah, but
They're not
they already,
plastic.
they already
Yeah, they're
come in,
paper.
they already come in paper, so.
And that's the paper, that's what they're talking about.
Oh, they're not being charged for that.
No, I know,
Right,
there's
so
an
that gets
exclusion
exempt.
for plastic on those. So,
Yeah.
No,
But they're
And
not
paper, they
plastic.
don't
But
get
they
charged.
don't-
Usually
they
they're
don't.
paper.
So, yeah, so that could probably be
the
eliminated.
idea is not to put your paper bag into another plastic bag.
Right.
Because that's, just doesn't.
well, that's
make
not how
sense.
this reads though, so
Right.
I understood
So
that,
that could be taken out then.
Right, it'll be drafted in
Yeah,
perfect language.
yeah, this will be reviewed.
Right, Kit?
it will.
Remember, we have to
Yes.
do this year.
Run it by me
No.
first, Kit.
We have to do it now.
Why do we have to do it now?
Because we
you
need to
can't-
do it now.
If you start it now, you can't go over the change of the year, so
Ah.
you'll have November, December. If I remember the chicken ordinance,
What
Well, we
chicken
couldn't figure out
orders?
which came
Took
first,
us-
the
I know, I'm-
chicken or the
Sam,
egg, so
okay,
there-
I would
five
be
years or something, so that'd be good to have a subcommittee work with me so that we can work our way through this and get your drafts right out right
Okay.
away
But
before
this is-
it comes up for first reading.
Yeah,
All right,
and we have a good start. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
so, moving forward, I would like to make a motion to authorize our township attorney to draft an ordinance to present to the township committee for consideration of introduction. May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Burstein?
Yes.
Mr. Levy?
Yes.
Ms. Lieberberg?
Yes.
Ms. Prupus?
Yes.
Mayor Flagler?
Yes.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you for your time, thank you for a unanimous vote. That's
And
terrific.
thank you for bringing your children. They're wonderful.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, all right, so let's take a quick break.
Speaking of Taylor Park, the pond, Alex, needs to be cleaned. It's a mess. The pond in Taylor Park. It's good. It's full of plastics. I'm not kidding. That's it.
No, the meeting's not over.
I was there like tonight.
It's just the very beginning.
No. The meeting's not over, just the ordinance, okay, so everyone stays for the business if they choose to. Okay. We always, because we have an after meeting, so. There can't be. All right, we're good to move on?
Yeah.
All right, Michael Cohen, we're gonna move on with our business meeting. Okay. Oh, okay, moving on with the business portion of our meeting, I'd like to have Mr. McDonald talk about our 2019 Best Practices Inventory Resolution 19-230.
Yes, so the Township Committee is in receipt of the best practices checklist. This is a checklist that the state provides to all municipalities each year. In 2019, they've asked a series of 53 scored questions and 31 survey questions. Scored questions sort of run the gamut of, do we file annual financial disclosure forms, maintain an up-to-date website with budget information, municipality have a social media policy, things like that. Survey questions circled around garbage collection, economic development. Towns must answer at least 30 of the scored questions in the affirmative to maintain their current level of state aid. The Township of Millburn answered 44 in the affirmative, and thus our state aid will remain the same.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve Resolution 19-230 in regards to the 2019 Best Practices Inventory?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Burstein?
Yes.
Mr. Levy?
Yes.
Ms. Lieberberg?
Yes.
Ms. Prufus?
Yes.
Mayor Eklund?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Now it's time for public comment. When invited to speak, please come to the lectern, clearly state your name and address, speak into the podium microphone so that your comments can be understood by all and properly recorded. When an audience or committee member reads from a prepared statement, please give or email a copy to Township Clerk's Office, cgatti@millburntwp.org. To help facilitate an orderly meeting and to permit all to be heard, speakers are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes. You're all familiar with our timer, how it's calibrated now. This is a business meeting. Please do not address our professionals or staff directly, and please direct comments to me. Any member of the public have a comment? Please, come up.
I really appreciate the conversation we all had. I'm a little obsessed on the topic myself, I have to say. One thing I was kind of surprised that we didn't hear anything about, and maybe it's the next step, but it's about compostable. By the way, there are wonderful compostable straws. I had a party this summer, and I had all compostable and recyclable products. Next meeting, I'll bring in samples for each one of you to try out my compostable straws, because they're even better than plastic, but they're compostable. And there are places that are giving them out. I was in a restaurant the other day where, surprisingly, we had a compostable straw, but there are a lot of solutions that we just don't think about because we don't know about them. So I think it's really important to advertise this whole topic. I think that's the biggest thing, like people have said. It's about just thinking to do it. And when you're thinking to do it, it's very easy. There is a compost service that I have. It's a local family from West Orange that started a business. Java's Compost, yes. And in my case, every 2 weeks, I have a bucket. They come and take my bucket and leave a clean bucket. And my daughter, who lives in another town, and I share the service. And it's better than digging in my backyard, which I was doing all summer, but that's not going to work in December. So I would love to have the town get into the composting area. I realize first things first, but the straws I will bring next time. I'll bring some of my samples. You can all try them out.
Thank you. Great. Anybody else from the public? Come on up, state your name and address, and
Yeah, that was Carol Kirsch, 93 Cedar Street.
Sure.
But the more important what she said, though, than the address. Phil Kirsch, 93 Cedar Street. At the last meeting, I saw on the tape that Mr. Falcon had said that we have immunity from builder's remedy lawsuits through December 20th right now. I wanted to understand after that date, what happens after that? Does that go through I know I saw something about this judgment of compliance and repose, or what actions can we take after December 20th to maintain that immunity?
Okay, so before Mr. Falco answers, is there anything else? Because we can't have a dialogue.
Yeah.
Is that your only
Okay, I'm
comment?
sorry, I should address the mayor with that.
Okay.
The other thing, I had another question. I also know that the topic of the Turtleback Zoo expansion came up during the public comment at the last meeting, and I understand, Mayor Glow, that you wanted to reserve, seemed like you wanted to reserve any kind of judgment until a master plan came out. I was interested, if possible, I would imagine that the township committee members, even if they also want to reserve judgment, that they have opinions about it, that expansion is terrible, that expansion might be good, that expansion might be good to a certain extent, and if possible, I'd still be interested at some time to hear their opinions about it, even while they're waiting for the master plan.
Okay, so it's not just waiting for the master plan, it's waiting for the plan of the amphitheater. So there's no plan for me to have an opinion on because it hasn't been completed and presented to us. And as you know, this is a freeholder issue. So when the freeholders get the plan, they can share it with us. And if anyone on the committee has an opinion, now would be, I would ask them to, at this point, speak up because I don't have anything to, as Sam says, opine about. I don't have a plan. The master plan's due at the end of the year. There's no cost, there's no footprint, I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
Well,
I guess
I
what I
have
was,
a-
I guess
I have
what
a
I was
comment.
addressing, what I was addressing was not the amphitheater specifically, but I guess my feeling, and also many other people, was the amphitheater is one thing, but the issue of the expansion. Whether it's an amphitheater, grizzly bear, what they've done so far, the issue of the expansion and the impact on the reservation. So that was, again, if that's gonna be addressed, that was really, the concern that
I don't
that
know
I'm
what the
looking at.
expansion is, I haven't seen a master plan, I don't know what they're planning, if they're planning to expand. The only thing I know that right now is in the talks is an amphitheater. I don't have.
All right, well,
You asked for opinion. I don't need to see a master plan. I have no opinion on the expansion of the Turtleback Zoo, and I would submit that this township committee should have no opinion on it either. It is not our issue, okay? The only commonality between the expansion of the Turtleback Zoo and the Millburn Township Committee is that we're in the same county. That's it, okay? We don't have an opinion on what's going on in Washington. We don't have an opinion on what's going on with the articles of impeachment. Individually, we could have an opinion on it, but our collective opinion on that is of no moment to what's going on in Washington. And I would submit of no moment to what's going on with the expansion of the Turtleback Zoo too. It's not our issue. They're not expanding into Millburn Township. And the most we could do, the most, as I understand, Mr. Kirsch, you're asking us to do, is to pass some resolution saying, we object to this expansion. And I don't think it's in our purview to be doing that, and nor do I think it's a good idea to be doing it. So from my own view, I don't need to see a master plan. We can have no opinion on it, and I have no opinion on it.
Okay, thank you. Any other members of the committee have an opinion they'd like to share with Mr. Kirsch?
I haven't studied it.
Ms. Prupus?
I haven't seen anything.
Ms. Lieberberg?
Yeah, I also would like to reserve judgment until we have more information. I know that it's, the amphitheater is what's on the table, and my understanding is the grizzly bear is off the table. And that they're going out for grant money so that it's not gonna have a significant impact on the taxpayer, but I don't know where we are yet.
Okay.
Yeah, if I could just say quickly one more thing. I mean, my personal opinion as a resident, and shared by others, is that the expansion will absolutely does affect residents of Millburn. Not only Millburn owns some of the property, but more importantly, it affects our environment in the reservation as recreational. It affects the traffic. I absolutely disagree that it's not an issue for the town or the township committee.
So I would ask you to continue going to the freeholders meeting, let them know your feelings and see what they move with that. But right now, it's not a topic that we can take on. And I would like Mr. Falcon give you a quick couple of minutes on your question, if you would.
Yeah, we had a case management conference at which time the judge extended the immunity to December 20. He set up a couple of hearings which will happen before then. One will be another case management conference and the fairness hearing. Incidentally, I announced a couple of dates for those events last time. I'm going to stop announcing dates because he's already switching them. And we've been advised by the judge's secretary and by the special master secretary that they're considering a couple of other dates, minor adjustments. So the dates that have been put out are not the dates. They will appear on the township's website as soon as we have them solidified. We will be requesting, of course, an extension of the township's immunity.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Anybody else from the public?
I don't know what to do, but can I make a plug for something?
You can come up to the microphone, state your name and address, and
So my name is Michael Cohn, and if you know my address, I live at 214th Street in Hoboken, New Jersey, and our dry cleaning does come with plastic. But having said that, I'm just plugging the Winter Walk. I am here as a member of the Board of Directors for the Millburn Shirtles Chamber of Commerce. And as a Board of Directors, we like to have people here as representatives at your town council meetings. And so that's why I'm here tonight. And then I'm driving back home to Hoboken. So this will be our third year that we're going to be having this event, which is the Winter Walk, which was the brainchild of Roxanne, who is our executive director. And it's a wonderful event. And as a chamber, we're looking for people from the community to help us with this endeavor, to get involved either with the planning aspect of it and or to get involved with regards to looking for people to be able to have the opportunity to sponsor this event so we can continue to make it the success that it has been for the last 2 years. So last year it was bigger than the first year. We have a initial lighting ceremony, which coincides with, I guess it's called Shop Small. So it's on Saturday, November 30th. And so that's the day that we'll have the event with the lighting ceremony. And it's something that I believe stays for, I think, 60 days. So through December and January. And it's just a wonderful thing as part of the township. So we light up Taylor Park, and every year it keeps getting bigger. And I'm a little bit disappointed that I came in earlier, late, and it was a packed house. I was like so excited. It was like, where'd everybody go? I don't know what happened. So I should have plugged it earlier, right? But that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
thank you. Okay, public comment is closed. Thank you, everybody. The committee will now consider consent agenda resolutions. The resolutions listed on the consent agenda for consideration are as follows. Bills list, authorized refund of tax overpayments, approval of items of revenue and appropriation for 2019 Investors Foundation, authorized fireworks in Taylor Park for Desi Club event, and those aren't fireworks you see on 4th of July, they're like large sparklers. Authorized execution of storm sewer indemnification agreement, confirm appointment to the planning board. We have Mark Matzel, who's moving up from the alternate to a full serving member, filling a position that somebody has vacated. Approval of raffle licenses. Approve closed session immediately following a regular meeting for contract negotiations, union contracts. And we will be awarding a contract for the roof and HVAC project at Millburn Police Department with Preferred Mechanical, Inc. Are there any comments from the committee or public in regard to any items listed on the consent agenda?
I
Oh,
just
you-
want to say that I'm glad to hear that Mark is moving up.
Yes. Mark is a good member of the planning board,
Yes.
very environmentally conscious, good asset.
I have a question. When do you anticipate beginning this new roof?
Do we have a start date?
It'll be, well, after the committee approves the contract, we'll get a pre-construction meeting going, and a notice to proceed to the contractor, so I'd say it would be within 2 to 4 weeks.
Great.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve the resolutions listed on the consent agenda?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Bursting?
Yes.
Mr. Regan?
Yes.
Ms. Lieberman?
Yes.
Ms. Purvis?
Yes.
Mayor Glasgow?
Yes.
Thank you.
I don't have to leave, I can just abstain, right?
Kid.
Pardon me?
Do I have to leave, or can I just abstain on these motions, on these resolutions?
Yeah, you're going to recuse.
I'm recused.
Yeah, well, you'll
So I have to leave,
announce
or
that,
can
and you'll take no part in the consideration or the vote.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
May I have a motion to approve resolution 19-240?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Burstein?
Recused.
Mr. Levy?
Yes.
Ms. Lieberberg?
Yes.
Ms. Prupus?
Yes.
Mayor Eklund?
Yes. Resolution passes. May I have a motion to approve Resolution 19241?
Move 19-241.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Burstein?
Recused.
Mr. Levy?
Yes.
Ms. Lieberberg?
Yes.
Ms. Prupus?
Yes.
Mayor Eklund?
Yes. Okay, Ms. Kupis is scheduled to sponsor ordinance 2544-19.
I would like to present an ordinance entitled Ordinance Number 2544-19, Ordinance Amending Chapter 7 Traffic of the Revised General Ordinance of the Township of Millburn. The proposed amendment to the traffic ordinance makes revisions to two sections of Chapter 7, Section 7-11-.1 will be revised to include a 3-hour parking restriction to Gapview Road between the hours of 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Gapview Road is the only street within 1,000 feet of the Short Hills train station without parking restrictions, and this revision will assist in curbing commuter parking on a residential roadway. Section 7-11.1 will also be revised to restrict parking on Cypress Street between the Millburn Avenue and Milton Street. Section 7-20 of Chapter 7 will also be revised to add stop signs at the intersection of Dogwood Drive and Lupine Way and at the intersection of Lupine Way and Forest Drive South, with the stop sign placed on Dogwood Drive and Lupine Way respectively. This revision is being made to designate through traffic in widely used area during school pickup and drop-off at Glenwood School. I move that this ordinance be taken up and passed on first reading, and that the township clerk be authorized to have the ordinance published in accordance with the law in the item and for hearing and final passage on Tuesday, November 12th, 2019.
May I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Do we not get to talk about this?
Oh, I'm sorry. You want to talk about it?
Sorry. I just want to understand why, I understand, did people in Gapview request this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so both of these came through the traffic issues management policy, in which they received 75% of the residents on their street that would be affected.
Okay, and why are we doing the Cypress Street?
Cypress Street between Millburn Avenue and Milton has received increased pressure as a result of the commercial uses on Millburn Avenue.
Okay.
And those residents have found they don't have parking available for themselves during the day.
Correct.
And the last question I have is, you said the revision is being made to designate through traffic?
Mm-hmm. So currently on Lupine Way,
Right.
there are no stop signs. So
Right.
there is no designation of whether the drivers on Dogwood or Lupine have the through. So this will allow for a stop sign
That's
on
what that
Dogwood.
means. I didn't understand what that meant. Okay, thank you.
So Lupine will
So
be
it's
the
really,
through
really
street.
for right of way,
Correct.
not through, okay.
I think what's really great about this is that this new traffic issues management policy, their residents who have a concern went out to their neighbors, they followed the instructions on the website, and they got a great result.
Great, okay.
But keep in mind too that all of these were reviewed
Oh,
by both traffic
course.
and engineering.
It didn't just happen because they put it in.
Right.
It got them into the system to
Correct.
be looked at and to say that this is warranted, and it was a good idea.
Great.
So I called for a second, and we're about to have a roll call. Yeah.
You were the second, right.
We're good.
Ms. Burstein?
Yes.
Mr. Levy?
Yes.
Ms. Lieberberg?
Yes.
Ms. Prupus?
Yes.
Mayor Eklund?
Yes. Does any committee member have an item of old business they would like to address this evening? Does any committee member have an item of new business they would like to talk about this evening?
Move to
What-
adjourn.
Oh, wait, one thing I would like to bring up, that I would like to assign Committeewoman Burstein and Committeewoman Lieberberg, who will be on the subcommittee, to help work with Kit in drafting our ban the plastic ordinance. Do you two accept that role?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have our subcommittee ready, and I would like to make a motion to adjourn. Would you like to second that, Mr. Levy?
No.
No? You want
I'll
to stay?
second it. Second.
Okay,
He
May,
wants to make it.
all in,